Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to Brains and Baubles Live. I'm your host, Davina Dandridge. So glad that you joined me here today. Listen, every Tuesday, this same time, we meet to talk about emotional intelligence. And when I tell you emotional intelligence is in my life's blood, it is. So I am an emotional empowerment coach. I'm a professor and I'm also an author. My book is called Brains and Baubles, Do What Works for You. And it talks about how to apply emotional intelligence in your life. And it shows that I used emotional intelligence before I even knew what it was. So every week we talk about it with guests or even myself, and we share how, in all different circumstances, regardless of where you are in your life, you need to learn emotional intelligence and actually apply it. So today, my guest is no different. And my guest today is someone that we've had on the show before, along with her husband. They are good friends of ours, and we have a lot in common. And not only do we have the education in common, we also have the idea of sharing with people. We also take care of our parents. That's right. We take care of our parents full time. And you know what? It's a joy, but it's also something that is really difficult without help and without an understanding. So, we're going to talk about today how emotional intelligence plays into taking care of aging parents. So, if you take care of anyone that's an adult, that is not your child that you're responsible for, you know that it can be challenging and you want to do your best, but you also have to make sacrifices. So I'm waiting for Carmen Elam to log on, and then we're going to get right into the chat. So until she signs on, I just want to let you know that you can get more information from me. You can actually learn more from me by going to my website, www.davinadandridge.com. There you will find more in detail about what it is I talk about and why I talk about it. You can also get a copy of my book, Brains and Baubles, Do What Works for You. This is an introduction to my bling concept, which is a simplified way to use emotional intelligence. Not only that, you get to learn a little bit more about me and why this is so important and why I want to share it. Also, I have tools there that you can get for free. You can get these tools to help you start on your journey to emotional intelligence and emotional empowerment. And I want to be the one to help you do it. When I tell you I have a passion for emotional intelligence, my daughter says for the first years when I was writing the book and making speeches about emotional intelligence is all I talked about. So guess who's emotional intelligent? She is, right? Good for her. But yes, so we're waiting on Carmen to log on. Now, here's what I can say. As we're talking about how to care for aging parents, let me tell you, it doesn't matter how you were treated when you were a child. It doesn't matter, how you feel or what you want to do for your life right now. And I say it doesn't matter, doesn't mean that you don't still do these things. What I'm saying is when your loved one needs you, you got to step up. You got to make a plan. You got to make this part of your life because it is so rewarding. It is so benefit. It is such a blessing to take care of your parent or a loved one. And they can't do it for themselves. Otherwise, they would. My mom is turning 88 this year. And if you know my mom, you know that she's been a business owner. She is, we call her Johnny Salami because she's cut like that, but she's also sweet and giving. And she took great care of my sister and I, along with my dad, all of our lives. And she's also been a pleasure as a person. So not only has she taken good care of us, but I like her. I love her. So taking care of a parent is a sacrifice in a lot of areas because there are plans that you have for your life that you have to set aside or make different arrangements in order to care for them. And if they could do it on their own, they would. Think about it. They took care of you. So you know they're capable of taking care of themselves. So, what we're going to talk about today is just what it's like. If you're not a caregiver, then you might not know what caregivers go through. And the term caregiver, it seems like, okay, well, you just make sure they eat, you make sure that their bedroom is nice. It's more than that. There's an emotional context that goes with taking care of someone, especially when they can cuss you out, or they can say no, or they can refuse to do some things, and you have to respect that. So, as soon as Carmen gets on, we'll start talking about that. She says she's signing in, and we'll see if she comes on. So, self awareness is the first step. You have to know where you are in the situation and understand your position. So, for me, my husband and I made a conscious effort to actually, hold on a second. Hello? Uh-oh. There she is. I'm going to have to edit this. So, without further ado, here is my friend and fellow caregiver, Carmen Elam. So, let's see here. Come on in, Carmen. Come on in, Carmen. Come on
Hey,
in. Hey, hey,
hi,
hey.
Yvette.
Hi, I don't see you yet.
I know, I see. Okay, so I'm having issues with my Zoom. Oh, goodness. Okay, give me a moment. I was trying to get in. I don't know what happened, but okay, so I can see you.
Uh-oh, wait, something's
Oh, hold
happening.
on 1 second. Okay, there we go.
Woo!
Oh, hello, how
Hey,
are you?
Carmen. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. I know we tried to make this happen today, honey, but we
I
are
know
here.
it was a struggle. It was a struggle, but we made it happen.
Look, and I'm very conscious of the time, so I will make sure to get on it. I was explaining to the audience that you and I have the honor and pleasure of taking care of our parents. I'm
Yes,
taking care of my mom. You've been taking care of your mom, and I know that your dad came to stay with you too. Is your dad still there?
he is not. He has left and went back. He went back home about, I would say, about a month ago now.
Oh, well, good, good,
Yes,
good.
yes.
Good. And the thing about being a caregiver for your parents, and that's what I was talking about, sometimes it's a challenge because they are still your parents. They
Yes,
can say, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to do that. And
absolutely.
because of the relationship, it's a little bit challenging. What do you think about that? Like what is the most challenging part of this for you?
Well, the most challenging part of it for me is just seeing your parent different from what they used to be.
Yeah, yeah.
Your parents used to be taking care of you. They were strong, they were able-bodied, and just to sometimes see the decline in their health because of a mental and or physical issue,
Hmm.
it tends to be a little disheartening.
Yeah.
However, we still have to make the most of it and move forward because at the end of the day, we still have to care for them.
Absolutely. And my main thing that I always think about, even in times where it's really, really stressful for me, is that I want her to have a beautiful quality of life, the best that I can help provide. And
Absolutely.
I know that for you, your mom is in a nursing home.
Yes.
So that requires a different type of work to make sure that she's good and her quality of life is there than when she's at home. Can you talk about some of the things that you have put in place that she's in a nursing home to make sure that she's getting the care that she needs?
Well, first and foremost, when your loved one is in a nursing home, the most important thing for you to do is to be involved. I mean, there's
Absolutely.
nothing like an involved son, daughter, or
Family
relative.
member, yeah.
Whatever family member you are, whatever relationship you have with that particular person, the most important thing is just making sure that you stay aware of what's going on with them,
Yes.
making sure that you make the nurses and the aides and even
Hmm.
I was even the janitor. You make these
Yeah,
people your best friends essentially, because
absolutely.
they're going to be the individuals that you have to call on. They're on the floor. They're like on the ground floor, and they're the individuals that are going to be there to um, assist you with whatever your loved one's needs are, and whatever you're asking them to do for your loved one. So, and
Yeah,
also in addition to that, just making sure that you stay in connection with the doctor. Make sure that just make yourself visible. Let people
yeah.
know you're there.
You know what? And I worked in that industry for a while as a community liaison. So while I was out in the field, I did get to know the residents, and then I also saw them when they were in the hospital. And you know, I just thank anyone who works in the healthcare industry, doctors, nurses. Patient care techs, medical assistants, administrative assistants, social workers, and dietitians. I want to say thank you personally because that industry is tough. It wasn't for me. I got too emotionally involved, and it's because I saw that there were dynamics there that I never could have imagined happening in my life and for my family's life. I had been at the bedside before in the hospital, and I was brought to tears, and that's when I knew that emotionally I couldn't do this as a profession, and that I had to find out what was going on and do something
Yes.
else. Because as my parents and my mother-in-law at the time and my mother were getting up in age, they required more care. They required more contact on a daily basis to make sure that they were, taken care of in their healthiest self. But what I've come to realize is that every person doesn't have a family member or a loved one who is able or even willing to
Yes.
step up and play this role, which is definitely a sacrifice in life. Now, you share some of your sacrifices, and I definitely got some sacrifices to share, and not sharing them in a way that I want someone to say, "Oh, you're so good, you did that for your mom," but
Right.
just the reality of the
Mm.
responsibility that it comes with taking care of a loved one.
Yes, absolutely. I have heard that so many times. Excuse me, when people say, "Oh, you're just such a kind daughter," and while we may be kind daughters,
Mm-hmm.
because no one has to take care of a parent.
That's
You know, no,
right.
no one has to do anything that they don't want to do, but
Yes.
because of the love for our parents, we do
Yes.
this out of love, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't expect anything in return for this. And not only is it something that is impactful on us as individuals, it's also impactful on our spouses. It's
Oh,
impactful
yeah.
on our children, and it's wonderful to have a support system, someone who will say, "Hey, you know what? You go in there and get you some rest, or you go do whatever you got to do, and
Oh,
I'm going to
yeah.
make sure that this is taken care of." So it's a family affair when it comes to caregiving, and I just don't think that people should see it as you doing someone a favor, because it's something that we actually want to do. And if
Yeah.
we don't do it, then who will?
Yeah, and I mean, listen, I couldn't do care for my mom in the way that I do without the support of my husband, the
Yes.
support of my
Yes.
sister, the support of my daughter, and outside support that has stepped up and saw the beauty in helping, even if it is their job. I have people in my life who, really, really step up in a way that, I couldn't have asked for. And I think, like you, to jump back to your interaction within the nursing facility for your mom, people are going to treat her like they see you treat her,
Absolutely.
and it is
Absolutely.
so important. I know that even in times when my mom was doing a short stay in the hospital, and even when she had done, like one time she fell and she had to go into the nursing home. Um, if we took turns, my sister and I were there every day, and so we pay attention, and then the staff pays attention, and I
Yeah.
understand it's a lot, especially when you're dealing with a number of patients with a number of different needs and a number of different personalities. It's hard to be kind and nice and everything. So I or we as children or caretakers are the eyes and ears and voice an advocate for our loved one. And it's important for us to show up. And while it is taxing to show up every day, every other day, it is well worth it.
Yeah.
And I could not do it without the support that I have. And Carmen, we were about to have a conversation about this earlier,
Yeah.
and we couldn't have the conversation before this time right here. And I'm so glad that we waited, because just starting to think about it and really talk and express it, because you don't get to do this so often, is very emotional.
It is. It really is.
It's very emotional. And I mean, tell me, you know, I don't want to just make it negative, but I do want to emphasize how serious it really is, because, getting to take a nap or getting a day break or respite, as it were, is
Mhm.
so very vital to us being able to continue in the job that
Absolutely.
we're doing. How is it that you get to get a mind rest or your body to rest? What are some of the things that you do, or what are some of the things that you are able to do with the support of your husband and family?
Well, you know, so in the beginning, I don't think I really got that much of a mind rest when my mother first began. When my mother first got sick, I didn't really get a lot of rest. I was always on the go. Still am on the go a lot,
Yeah, yeah.
but I just have to be mindful of taking time out for myself. You know, even though it's kind of hard, even though my mother is in a facility, it still is taxing because again, I have to be there to. You have to be there and show up to make sure that um, the individuals that are caring for your loved one are treating them properly.
And you
Um,
have to spend time. That's not a
yes,
10-minute visit.
yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
So I have to, just like today. Today is one of those days. I've been on the go all day, and pretty much I have to take the time. I have to intentionally take that time out to rest. It's not
Hmm.
something that comes easy.
No,
I
it's
have to,
not.
yeah, I have to intentionally say, you know what, Carmen, you got to go and you got to rest. You got to do whatever it is that I have to do outside of caring for my mom, because
Hmm.
caring for a loved one can inundate you. It can consume you.
Yeah,
You
well,
can
yeah.
consume an hour, your day, a week, a month, and then your entire life,
Hmm.
essentially. And
Yeah.
if you let it, so you have to learn self care. You have to learn when it's time to just sit down.
Self-care is so important. And just think about it, there are 24 hours in a day. So we at least have a couple of hours where we aren't, in my case, preparing a meal. Excuse me. Oh,
Okay.
that, I got strangled on saliva. That happens to me often. Sorry
I'm
about
glad
that.
you're okay.
Mm. Now I can start developing a blooper reel. Anyway, when I'm not thinking about medication or preparing a meal or scheduling an appointment or something like that, there are a couple of hours in a day that I can get to myself, even beyond working or, fixing meals for the family. So I like to release by first thing in the morning, getting a workout in, getting prayer time in, just really taking those couple of hours to kind of fuel myself for what I have to do today. So my point is that if if you're a caregiver and you never take time for yourself, then everything seems like a chore or a duty. And
Yes.
that's when your attitude changes. And I have been in that place where I have to say, oh, wait a minute, step back for a second,
Mhm.
watch your tone. This is still
Absolutely.
your mom. And
Yeah.
while you're accustomed to her operating and communicating and doing things in a certain way, things are different. And I have to put myself in her shoes. So
Yeah.
it's in emotional intelligence is self-awareness, but it's also the awareness of other people's emotions and how my behavior is impacting their emotions. So I have to step back and say, hey, you know, calm yourself down. You can take a breather. Now start again, out of respect, out of love. Do you ever come to those situations where you're just like, oh, ah, you know, and
Yes.
you know it's not their fault? Ah, you know, do you ever just have to let go and scream or do something?
Yeah, I find myself having to remove myself from the situation quite
Oh
often
yeah.
because they are our parents. Excuse me, they are our moms. We love them,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't at any point in time want to disrespect them in any way, shape, or
Right.
form. And the whole entire issue is that it's not their fault.
Mm-hmm.
No one chooses to be sick. No one
Right.
chooses to have a variety of health issues.
Or
No one
just get
chooses to
older.
be bedridden or get older. So no one makes this choice in life. So
I mean, they might make a choice to get older, but I mean, but you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
right. No one
Uh,
makes a choice to say, hey, I'm just gonna go and get sick today and stay sick for forever, or be in a wheelchair and not be mobile. Whatever the health issues are, no one actually chooses that.
mm-hmm.
So we have to be mindful. We have to be very mindful of, like you said, our tones. I sometimes find myself um getting a little irritated at times, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes a whole lot of irritated.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have to
Yeah.
find
We gonna
my
be transparent. That's
I gotta be
absolutely right.
transparent, and it's my mom, but sometimes she just, she can get on my nerves. Like I'm sure I got on her nerves a lot as well. But I have to find that balance to say, hey, Carmen, you know what? You need to step back for a second, and you need to take a breather. Even if I have to
Yeah.
walk away for a moment to say, hey, mom, I'll be back,
Yeah.
and leave
Oh,
her
I
to
do
her
it all the
devices,
time.
and come back later, because I can't I cannot disrespect my mom.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And then, the thing is about it too, like you said before, if you're not going to do it, then who? And then I look, everything is reciprocal,
Yes.
right? You get back what you put out. What's going to happen when my turn comes? I want to be an example for other people that, hey, at some point, we all are going to come by this way if we're fortunate enough to live long enough. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So to be an example to other people of how to take care of someone that you love opens up the opportunity for your child, your niece, your nephew, your brother, your cousin, who may have to step up into that position one day. I just pray that, well, first of all, I want to act out what it is that I want. And I pray that someone will take care of me if I need that at that point.
Absolutely.
So when you are thinking about your future and you're thinking about that, does that play into what you're doing for your mom and all? I know you would do it anyway, but I know sometimes I have to think about that as well.
It does, because the premise is that you want people to treat you like you treat them.
Yeah.
And one of my mother's hospital stays, someone told me, "Hey, treat people like you want to be treated, or treat them like you would want someone to treat your mother." And then they had to correct themselves, because they said, "You know what? Sometimes people don't even like their mothers, so you have
Mhm.
to ask them to treat people as though it was them lying in that bed." And
Yeah.
so I think about that as well. We all think about our mortality at some point in time,
Hmm.
and it's like we have to understand that, again, just like you said, at any point in time, it could be us lying in that bed. And I use the example of, it doesn't have to be old age.
Yeah.
You can walk outside and get hit by a car and end
Anything.
up in
Anything.
that type of a situation. So any type of medical emergency, any type of situation could land you in the same position. And I just think that individuals should practice treating people well, just because that's what they deserve.
You know what, Kermit? And this should go into every area of life
Yes,
because,
it should.
when you're dealing with doctors and you're dealing with nurses and you're dealing with the janitor, like you said, or you're dealing with a patient care tech, all of these people are dealing with your loved one.
Yeah.
So, how you speak to them, whether you show up on time, whether you ask the right questions or ask questions at all, is very important to the care of your loved one. And we were talking about planning. And for the longest time, my mom lived on her own. When we were there in Michigan, she lived on her own, and we moved her closer to us when she was still able-bodied. And we were always saying, hey, one day we're all going to live together. We're all going to live together. And then the opportunity came for us to live together and move to Arizona while it was difficult in a sense because my sister is still there in Michigan, and it wasn't a thing where we're very close, as you know. We're all
Yeah.
a very close family, and fortunately my sister has had the ability to come see us and visit with us quite frequently. So it's like she's not here for the day to day, but we connect every day, which is a benefit and blessing to my mother. But just thinking about how we included her in the plans for our future is probably why we have the opportunity to do this right now. And I remember when you guys were buying your house, I don't know if that was a thought for you at that time, but I know that very soon afterward, your mom did come and stay with you for a while. And oh, what a blessing it was for that to be able to take place.
Well, just like your mom was living by herself, so was my mom. She lived in
Mm-hmm.
in her home by herself, but it was 2 stories. We had moved her bedroom down to the first floor because she wasn't able to climb the stairs like she was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And it had gotten to the point where I was running over to her house like every day. And it was basically like I was living there. And then I would come home at night and go to sleep.
Yeah.
And so my husband came to me one day and he said, "Hey, it's time for her to move into the house in with us," because it was just, him seeing me running back and forth and just
Yeah.
just the idea that I could have a better chance of taking care of her while she was in our care under the same roof. And we
Mm-hmm.
made a decision. We had a conversation with my mom. I don't think she was really like ready for
Oh, they
that.
still want their independence now. It
Absolutely.
takes some convincing.
And so it took some convincing, like you said, it took some convincing slash
Mm-hmm.
pushing, but she ended up, agreeing to move in, and I think that she was better for that. She appreciated the fact that we had her. We were gracious enough to bring her here with us,
Mm-hmm.
and she appreciated the fact that she had company and wasn't
Yes.
alone for the majority
Yes.
of the time.
Like we had to do some convincing to get my mom here, but what is so gratifying is that she has said since she's been here that she, first of all, feels well taken care of, and secondly, wants for nothing. And
Absolutely.
so that is so satisfying to me. It's well worth me not being able to go on vacations like when and how long I want to, or
Yeah.
hang out with girlfriends. All of that will happen in the right time. But I'm just so thankful to spend this time
Yes.
with my mom and really show and reciprocate the love that I've been given, all of my life.
Yes.
So, Carmen, as we're about to end here, thank you so much for sharing. I know this is definitely a topic that is close to the heart, and it should be shared with other people. Tell me if or is there something emotionally that you are working on or preparing for in regards to your mom, or just balancing your life at all right now?
Well, right now, I'm pretty much so since my mom is in a facility, I have a lot of additional time that I've been pouring into, working on myself and then, of course, maintaining our marriage.
Yeah.
So I'm really just working on some things that have probably fallen by the wayside over the years
Mm-hmm.
and continuing to build on my business so that I can, get that fully off the ground. But
Absolutely.
and then just taking some time out just to be able to sit and really just have some me time to think.
If somebody wants to support you, Carmen, what is the one thing that someone can do to support you as a caregiver for your mom?
Wow, that's a loaded question. Um, I'm sorry, this light is really funny.
That's okay. I see you.
What is one thing someone could do to support me? Oh, wow, that's never put much thought into it. If there's one thing that someone could do to support me, I think it would be more so um just reaching out and maybe visiting my mom and taking her something to eat, sitting with her for a little while, that would
Yeah.
be really big because I'm the main caregiver. I have siblings,
Mm-hmm.
however, they are not as active as I would like them to be. but I can't be responsible for someone else. I can only be
Yeah,
responsible for
you
myself.
can't control what they're gonna do. You have to do
Yes,
what
I had to learn that. I had to learn that over the years.
your relationship is your relationship, their relationship is their relationship.
Absolutely.
That happens.
Absolutely.
You come to an understanding
Yes.
understanding of that. Well,
Yes.
that's a great to visit, to partner, to let your mom know that she has community and she
Yes.
has support. One thing that always helps me is just for somebody to check in on me.
Yeah.
Like if I call, like I have called you or text you and say,
Yes.
Carmen, how are you doing? You know, what's going
Yes.
on with you, with Carmen? Because so many times we're focused on others that we don't know how good it feels for someone to just ask, how was your day?
And
Or do
see,
you
look,
need
when
me?
you asked me that question, I went directly to my mom, not thinking
Uh-huh.
about Carmen.
Yeah, it's about Carmen. Carmen is valuable now.
Yes,
Carmen is
absolutely.
important. So we got
Absolutely
to keep
right.
Carmen in focus. Well,
Yes.
Carmen, thank you so much for your time today. I really
Thank you so much for
appreciate you
having me, Livette.
sharing this very important topic. Listen, if you are a caregiver or you have a loved one who may need care, you know, don't look at it as a chore. Look at it as a gift, because when I tell you it is reciprocal, you don't know how you're going to get it back, but it's better to get something good back than something bad. Listen, we're talking about emotional intelligence every Tuesday at 6 o'clock. You can find me on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, and also on LinkedIn with the live video. Listen, I want to share with you and I want you to join me in making the world emotionally healthy. Until next time, see you later. Bye, Carmen.
Thank you. See you later, Davina.
All right. Bye
Have a
bye.
good day.
You too.